I grew up there, graduated from high school there, and I moved to Atlanta after I got out of the U.S. Army. I wanted to get involved in the film and video business, and I mean the actual film and video business. And understand, they are two distinct businesses. They are not the same. They are not interchangeable. I know we hear people all the time say they're going to look at, let's go look at some film, especially when we talk about sports. You listen to ESPN, you hear those guys all the time say, oh, we're going to go back and look at the film. No, they're not. No, they're not. They're going to go back and look at video.
Yeah.
Make it real clear. Because understand, there are two different formats. Two different formats. The first thing you want to learn about it. And understand how to get involved in the film and video business. It actually stems, believe it or not, is more closely related to classroom. Believe it or not, it starts in the classroom. And people say, well, how do you think it gets started in the classroom? Anybody got an idea how it gets started in a classroom? Anybody? Think about it. Okay, let's say you want to do a movie. Someone who wants to do a movie? Anybody wants to do a movie? Who wants to do a movie? Okay, what are you going to share with everybody that's on your team right here to get us going? What are you going to share?
First of all, I'm going to share the idea about it.
The idea. He's absolutely right. And the stage he's talking about idea is what they call your development stage or your pre-production. That's the idea. That's where you sit down and bang out ideas about the script. What is it going to be about? Where are you going to shoot at? What kind of clothes we're going to look at? You got to go with strategy with your team of people. But see, all the fun happens when you start shooting. All the work happens before you start shooting. When he's talking about the idea, that's your script development stage. That's finding all the pieces, everything you're going to need, everybody you're going to need on the team, everything down from travel, equipment, to personnel that you're going to bring in. So, any questions so far? That development stage. But also, he's got to be a great communicator with that idea. So we have to learn how to start looking at ourselves and understand how well we communicate with people. Okay? Because communicating with people, a lot of times, we see ourselves, or a lot of times we think we're doing one thing, but we ask the people that we're relating to, are we clear? Are we talking too fast? Are you able to understand me? We don't ask that. So you first want to be a filmmaker, especially from, I'm going to say from the standpoint of a producers or what you call above the line. That's a term that you're going to find that's in the film business. It's called above the line. It basically means kind of your management positions. Like technically Ms. Barnes is basically a producer. She's producing this program. I'm a hired gun. So I'm somebody like the grip. I'm a grip. You all are like the crew. You come in, follow me. You see how it started with the lady?
Right.
Doesn't change. Just responsibilities and what we do. Ms. Barnes is a great communicator. You have to be that way if you're going to be a producer. Let's just talk from a producer standpoint. Does anybody have an idea? What do actual producers do? Or what do we think they do? What do we think?
They provide basically their suggestions for the movie or money, or I guess executive producers.
He said executive producer. Let's start there. What's the one thing you're going to need to get most projects done?
Cash.
Cash. He's absolutely right. When you see that title at the beginning of a movie, executive producers, you can best bet that person stands to gain a lot, or he stands to what? Lose a lot. So everybody is stepping up here saying executive producers, that really means they have a financial interest in the success of that project. That means they done put up some money, or they done got somebody else to put up some money. That's why if you notice now, you may see what they call a single title page card. At one page it comes there and says Corey. Corey's executive producer. What's your last name, Corey?
Epps.
Corey Epps. Executive producers, that's going to be on his page. If I gave him some money, guess what I'm going to do? I'm asking for my page. Yeah. Eric Morton, executive producer. You gave him some money, what's your name? Nick. Nick going to have his executive producer. Why? That's our project. We want our name on it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Understand, that's key. You say executive producers, we do provide money. And a lot of times, we may be inexperienced. If Corey hit the lottery tomorrow and said he wants to do his movie, do you think he can?
Yeah.
Why?
Because he got the money.
But if he's smart, what would he do? What would he do? What would he do? I want you to just slow down and see what I'm getting at. He doesn't have the experience to do it, does he? I'll give you a hint there. So what does he need to do?
Learn about it.
Learn about it. How would he learn about it?
Go to school.
go to school or you have somebody like me.
Yeah. Get somebody who-
Absolutely.
Being in the
And that's the same thing with any of your business that you all may be considered going into. It's actually finding people with the experience to do it. You understand? Don't think just because you have an idea about a particular industry that you're getting in, that you know how it really is. Because believe me, I thought filmmaking was an easy thing. I thought, man, people just came together, people treated it as a hobby, because a lot of rich people at one time did treat it as a hobby. But I would tell you, getting into the film business was absolutely hard up until Michael Jackson got involved. And people want to say, well, how did Michael Jackson change film? Some of you all, I don't know how old you are, you may remember, music videos were actually done in videos up until he did Thriller.
Right.
I'll say it again. Music videos were shot in video up until he did it with Thriller. Yes?
So when didn't the Beatles start doing music videos first though?
No, not per se. What they started doing was, at the time, understand back when the Beatles came, a lot of time people were just documenting. And they were shooting what you call 8mm film. And it's a grainy, old, simple film that
Black
people
and
used to
white.
be able to buy, black and white. They used to do it. All they did later was compile it. Compile it. Music videos started actually happening in the 70s. But they were shot on the format of video. And people want to say, what's the difference in media? Video. You ever seen the newscast? How many of y'all seen the newscast? Most of the newscasts you see to this day in this country are shot in a video format. Whether it be an analog or digital, it's still a video format. Guess what they used to shoot in? Film.
And that's why it looked like that, like in the old days.
Exactly. It used to be. But they start realizing, man, we can't keep going this paper processing. So that's the difference in film and video. Videographers don't have to ever worry about processing. Why? You shooting in tape or you shooting now, as I'm shooting a straight hard drive. I have no tape over there. I have no film. But am I filming? No. Technically, I'm videotaping. But then technically, I'm not even taping, I'm videoing. Because my format has changed. So we understand what that is? But going back to your point, you were saying what now?
Like now that you mention it, I do notice like when Thriller came out, he used film, but like all those other like 80s music videos, like the rock videos and
Early,
stuff.
a lot of early ones did it. It wasn't until Michael Jackson came on the scene and decided to bring in a film director that changed the industry. That was my key to getting into the industry, believe it or not. And people say, how? No, didn't work for Michael Jackson. Don't get that wrong. No. What he did, he introduced a format to a particular production, a music video, and said, let's put some film in it. Why? I want my film to look better. I want it to have what they call depth of field, meaning that when you look at film projects for the most part, indeed, digital video, it's catching up. I don't deny that. But I tell you, the real movie makers, guess what they still shoot in to this day?
Film.
Still shoot film. As Tyler Perry Studios, he shoots in film. Spielberg, when they spending the big bucks, what do they shoot in?
Video.
They do not shoot video. And I don't care about HD and high def and all of that. That's just to make you change your format every year. That's all that's done. That goes back to, that's no difference than what Panasonic did for the Olympics. They have a format called P2, which means Panasonic Video Format. Ooh, it's a format they came up with that they wanted people to go and change all of their system. But the only problem with it is what? Everything you had shoot in, you had to originate on, you even had to edit in their special what? P2 systems. Okay? So understand, like I said, Michael Jackson got in, he changed the industry because he introduced film as a format. Anybody, so are we clear on understanding there's a difference between film and video?
Right.
It's a format. And how many of y'all familiar with CDs? Okay? How many of y'all familiar with the jump drives now? We call them jump drives or storage little ones.
Flash drive.
Guess what? Two different formats that can do exactly the same thing. So video, film, two different formats that can do the same thing. You get me now? Yes, Courtney.
Yeah, they also have like for those jump drives, well not just jump drives, but like separate hardwares they can do. Like my friend, I went to my friend's house yesterday. His roommate, they have a hooked up to their TV like terabyte drive, which can hold a lot.
That's basically a billion, correction, a trillion bytes of information. That's what a terabyte is.
Yeah, and-
Terabyte, trillion.
Wow.
Yeah,
Gig,
he only paid about like $160 for it at Best Buy.
Exactly.
And I was on the website earlier. You can get one about $79 for on sale
Really?
this week.
Terabyte?
Yeah.
That's good. That's a lot of memory. But understand the format. So film and video is the same way. You get it? Like if you got a CD and a jump drive, CD, still good quality, not as quite as much memory, can you? But remember, it's two different formats that can do what? Hold information. But it's two different formats. Film and video is the exact same way. Two different formats that you have, okay? So, like I said, when he introduced film to that was my interest too. When I moved here to Atlanta in '88, I got here, of course, I wanted to get into film and video industry. I was like, man, whatever it's gonna take for me to get in, I wanna get in. As you can see, I started out being an actor. Wasn't that bad, it's just that I realized working with independents normally do not have the money, they're not well financed, and then normally they don't necessarily have the organization skill. Me coming out the military, me having that self-drive, I realized that, hey, I can work a whole lot longer in the business as a producer than I could as an actor. Think about that. Think about your careers that you're considering too. Yes?
That's why like Steven Spielberg, like and like George Lucas even, they produce more films than they have, directed more.
They ugly guys. Let's just be real. But the fact is, they smart guys, and they realize, I ain't gotta be good looking to get my name up on the screen. I'm gonna pay the good looking person to be up there on the screen. But that's the first thing that people have to do as organizers. If you're gonna be a business owner, you have to organize your businesses. You have to know what it is you need. And we're talking about, say, film, being a film producer. You gotta look at your team and say, hey, I gotta assemble people. I need a good writer. I need somebody, a good director that I'm gonna bring on board, possibly in a good executive producer, which is somebody basically that I'm gonna hand the checkbook to and say, don't spend all my money, spend it right. That's why you have people on the team. You have them on the team to do different jobs. You may be considered that if you're going into business for yourself. I don't care, even if you buy a franchise. You gotta consider all the different components of what it is you wanna do. But also, does it fit your body type? Or does it fit your personality type, I should say? For me, yes, Courtney.
Oh, you can finish.
See, for me, I'm a better organizer. I'm a better planner. Why is it I think I'm a better planner? Because I'm not scared to ask people the who, the what, the where, the when, the how, and the how much. Because I know if you're going to jump in the film business, please believe me, you're going to sit down and ask yourself, man, how much can we pay somebody? Aha, there's a how. How much? It's a real question that has to be asked. And then guess what? Negotiate. I may not be the best negotiator. What do? I pay somebody to come in that is a better negotiator. That's why if you notice at the end of a film, you see all those names and companies? That producer had to get involved either directly or indirectly with the majority of those people's names that you see at their title crawl at the end of it. He had to either hire those companies or his people in his department heads hired those companies and worked with those people up and down the list. He might not have done it, but guess what? He had to get them involved. They bring in every piece that put the project together. And I don't care how big or how small your budget is, you're gonna have to work with other people. So you yourself have to be organized first and foremost. And then bring your team in. Meaning you bring the people in that have the experience, that can get the job done, and that you can work with. And come on, people, they ain't gotta necessarily be people you like. They just gotta be people that can get the job done. Cause believe me, when I'm getting a check, that's the best project I'm working on, is the one with the check. Okay? Do I gotta like the project? Man, I love that check. And you will too. You'll see. You'll see. You'll see. That check is the best. Oh, you ever notice all those actors get on TV? Why is it always the movie they just got through shooting is the best one out there? You mean to tell me that movie you did 5 years ago, man, you didn't worry about that. You didn't spend that money. You need to spend it to the new movie. You ever notice that? Man, the best movie they worked on is the most current one that's in theaters right now. Because the one he got it coming out in 2 months is going to be better than this one right here you just worked on. Call promote it. Yes?
I got a question about film. How do they, like, say that you are an independent film person, right? How do you go about the process of competing with the other films out there, like getting into like commercials or competing with the other movies out there that's coming out? That's well-known movies.
You talking about in the theaters?
Yeah.
In the theaters? What he's asked this question is he wants to know, how do you compete with the big boys? I will say it's absolutely hard, but it's very possible. And it happens normally every year. You got somebody who might have spent $30,000, but they're not going to tell you they spent 4 years of their time putting it together, and all of a sudden somebody gets it and picks it up and say, you know what, we really like this piece. We're going to put it into a couple of movie theaters. Then in a couple of movie theaters, it's sold out, line wrapped around the block, and all of a sudden you got a distributor say, hey man, we got that guy's movie on this keeping our movie theaters packed. We need to get some more prints and get them in a couple more theaters. And then all of a sudden you have 2 theaters carrying it. Then you got 5 theaters carrying it. Then you got a whole city that's carrying it. And this is how a lot of small is. Well, what happens is, if you, as an independent, get a project done, if it's any good, and I have to say if it's any good, it's really based on the merit of the film. Meaning that as consumers, we decide what's good. I don't care if you spend $100 million putting it together. People have put together $100 million junk. It still happens. What he's asking is, how do you compete? You can compete if you have a good product. If you have it something that the marketplace says is worth our dollars, that the market says, I'm spending my dollars for. That's how you compete. You just thinking that you're going to put together your small budget over theirs, they'll kill you because they'll be able to dump more money in P&A, which is your prints and advertising. You know those posters that you see when you go into the theater, you know those trailers that you see when you go in and watch the other movies? That's how they got you. But if you've got something that's so good, believe it or not, you'll get somebody that'll be an executive producer and say, look here, we're ready to go on and pump about $5 million in your prints and advertising. You mind throwing my name in there as executive producer? You know what you're going to tell them?
Sure.
Yes.
Sure.
You don't care if it was his great grandmama that's a life saving. He finna done $5 million. Yes, ma'am. She's the executive producer today. What's her film experience? Absolutely zero. It's called dollars. Anybody can be executive producers if you got the what? Money. So don't be freaking out on that. You learn that from the inside now. Learn it from the inside. Yeah. Anybody can be executive. Yes.
Well, with that being said, somebody independent filming, like, how like when they do put a movie out there, if they talking about film, how do they get their fan base to grow? Like,
Well, now you got a lot of ways to get it to grow. I mean, go ahead. I'm sorry. Continue.
Oh no, that was it.
Well, it's like right now, one thing Tyler Perry did, and I have to use his for example. Tyler Perry was very smart in what he did, but Tyler Perry started with stage plays.
Yes,
Right.
And he started building a fan base in his stage play. Was he a film guy? No. But it's real easy when you, like I told you, anybody teach you film, but the price is right.
Right.
You know what, Tyler, sit on down right there, brother. We'll go out here. We'll go out here and break your script down. We'll do all that for you. That's how you become a filmmaker. If you got the money and if you don't have the drive and the time to put into it, like many people say, well, how do you learn so much? I learned from the School of Hard Knocks. I learned by seminars. I learned by volunteering on projects. Because understand, you as a paying customer, you don't care where I got my experience from, do you? You know, if I can cut a deal, if I can get a project to say, like the project you saw at the very beginning called Nighttime People, that was a project that a friend and I had done where he actually started shooting it back in 80, he started shooting that movie in 86. We did what at the time was called direct-to-home video. That project was Nighttime People. That was our first. We put 4 movies directly to Blockbusters before Blockbusters got put out by Redbox. Understand, changing industries. But to answer your question, how do you build your fan base? Several ways you can do that nowadays. One, good old thing called the internet. Facebook, Twitter. Great to do that now. These weren't available to independent before.